Two people can earn the exact same salary and still end up living completely different lives. One person checks their bank account every week with stress. Their paycheck comes in, bills get paid, a few small purchases happen, and suddenly the money is gone again. They work hard, avoid crazy spending, and try to be responsible. But somehow, years pass and nothing really changes. No risk savings, no freedom, just more pressure. The other person earns the same amount of money. Same city, same starting point. But little by little, their life starts getting easier. They build savings slowly. They stop worrying every time an emergency shows up. Over time, they gain something most people never reach: breathing room. And the strange part is, at first they don't even look richer. The difference wasn't intelligence. It wasn't luck, it wasn't even income. The real difference came from small spending habits that quietly drained one person while the other avoided them. Tiny decisions made every day, the kind most people never question because they seem normal. That's the trap. The dangerous spending habits are usually not the big flashy purchases people warn you about. They're the everyday habits that slowly eat your future without you noticing. And most people never realize these habits are destroying their finances until years have already passed. This isn't really about buying expensive things. Most people already know they shouldn't waste money on luxury cars or private jets. The real danger is the normal spending that feels harmless. The little purchases that seem too small to matter. The upgrades that slowly become part of daily life. The emotional spending after a stressful day. The need for convenience. The pressure to keep up with other people online. People don't usually go broke from one terrible decision. They go broke from hundreds of invisible ones. A food delivery here, a monthly subscription there, a small treat after a hard week. Over time, these habits quietly take control of your money without you realizing it. And the worst part is that modern life makes this feel completely normal. Today, I'm going to show you 9 spending habits that quietly keep millions of people financially stuck, even when they think they're doing fine. And once you see them, you never look at your money the same way again. Section 1, one of the biggest money traps today is the habit of rewarding yourself all the time. You have a stressful day at work, so you order expensive food. You feel tired, so you buy something online. You feel bored, so you walk into a store just to look. And after a while, spending money starts feeling less like a choice and more like emotional recovery. The problem is not rewarding yourself sometimes. Everyone deserves to enjoy life. The problem starts when every emotion becomes a reason to spend. Modern life is stressful. People are tired, overworked, and mentally drained. And because of that, the phrase "I deserve this" becomes very dangerous. At first, the purchases seem small. A coffee here, new clothes there, late night food delivery. A quick shopping app scroll before bed. None of these feel serious on their own. But together, they quietly drain thousands of dollars over time. And what makes this trap even worse is that emotional spending gives fast relief. For a few minutes, buying something feels exciting. Your brain gets a quick dopamine hit. You feel happier, calmer, or more in control. But that feeling disappears quickly. Then the stress comes back, so the cycle repeats again. This is why so many people earn decent money but still feel stuck financially. Their paycheck becomes emotional recovery money instead of wealth-building money. And most people never notice it happening because the spending feels normal. That's the scary part. You can slowly destroy your finances while still believing you are being responsible. A person may avoid luxury cars, avoid huge debt, and still struggle for years because of non-stop emotional spending hidden inside daily life. The people who build real wealth usually learn one important skill early. They stop using spending as therapy. They find other ways to relax, other ways to reward themselves, other ways to handle stress that do not slowly empty their future. Because every dollar you spend to escape your emotions is a dollar that can no longer build freedom later. And modern companies know exactly how to exploit this. Section 2, another spending habit quietly keeping people broke is convenience addiction. Modern life has made almost everything easier. You can press a button and get food delivered to your door. You can call a ride in seconds. You can pay extra for same-day shipping instead of waiting 2 days. And little by little, people start spending more money just to avoid tiny inconveniences. At first, it feels harmless. You're tired, so you order food instead of cooking. You're running late, so you call a ride instead of taking the bus. You forgot to buy something earlier, so you pay extra shipping to get it faster. Once in a while, this is not a huge problem. But when convenience becomes your normal lifestyle, it slowly destroys your financial discipline. That's a deeper problem most people never notice. They are not just buying convenience. They are outsourcing discipline. Planning ahead takes effort. Cooking takes effort. Waiting takes patience. Budgeting takes self-control. And the more people avoid these small challenges, the weaker their money habits become over time. This is why convenience spending can quietly become very expensive. Not because of one giant purchase, but because of non-stop small ones stacked together every single week. A $5 delivery fee here, an expensive ride there. Extra charges for speed, comfort, or convenience. Month after month, the money disappears. And because each payment feels small, people rarely stop to calculate the real cost. But the damage is bigger than money alone. The more convenience you buy, the weaker your financial habits become. You stop preparing. You stop planning. You stop thinking ahead. And eventually, your life becomes more expensive simply because you are always reacting in the moment. Wealthy people are not always smarter. Many of them simply build systems that reduce careless spending. They plan meals. They buy things early. They avoid emotional rush decisions. They understand that patience often saves money. Meanwhile, many struggling people slowly train themselves to pay extra for speed and comfort every day. And modern companies love this. Because the easier they make spending feel, the less time people spend thinking before handing over their money. Section 3, one of the most common reasons people stay broke is lifestyle inflation. This happens when every time a person earns more money, their spending grows just as fast. They finally get a raise at work, and instead of building savings, they upgrade their lifestyle. A better apartment, a newer car, more shopping, more eating out, more monthly payments. At first, it feels like success. After working hard for years, people want proof that they are moving forward. So they reward themselves with a more expensive life. The problem is that these upgrades slowly become permanent bills. A bigger apartment means higher rent every month. A nicer car means bigger payments, insurance, and repairs. New subscriptions quietly pile up in the background, music apps, streaming services, fitness memberships, premium plans people barely even use. And little by little, the extra income disappears. That's why many people feel confused after getting raises. They expected to feel financially free, but somehow they still feel trapped. Because most people don't get richer when they earn more. Their bills just level up with them. This is one of the biggest financial traps in modern life. People think higher income automatically creates wealth. But income alone changes nothing if spending rises at the same speed. A person earning twice as much money can still live paycheck to paycheck if their lifestyle keeps expanding. And the scary part is that lifestyle inflation happens quietly. Nobody wakes up one morning trying to become financially trapped. It happens slowly through small upgrades that feel deserved. A slightly better phone, a slightly nicer vacation, a slightly more expensive daily routine. Then one day, the person realizes they need a high salary just to maintain a life that still does not make them feel secure. Meanwhile, people who build wealth often do something very different. When they earn more, they keep part of their lifestyle the same. Instead of upgrading everything, they increase their savings, investments, and freedom. They understand that the goal of earning more money is not to impress people. The goal is to create options, to create peace, to create control over your future. But social media makes this even worse. Section 4. Another habit quietly keeping people broke is spending money to look successful. This is one of the most dangerous traps because it often has nothing to do with real happiness. It is about image. People buy designer brands they cannot truly afford. They upgrade to expensive phones they do not really need. They copy luxury habits they see online because they want to feel successful in front of other people. And social media has made this problem much worse. Every day, people scroll through photos of expensive vacations, luxury cars, fancy restaurants, and perfect lifestyles. After seeing this over and over again, normal life starts to feel not good enough. So people begin spending money trying to keep up. Not because they truly need these things, but because they do not want to feel left behind. This creates a very dangerous cycle. A person may look rich online while secretly drowning in stress, debt, and financial pressure in real life. That's why appearances can be very misleading. Some people with the most expensive lifestyles actually own very little. Their income disappears into car payments, shopping, rent, and non-stop upgrades designed to impress others. Meanwhile, truly wealthy people often live much more quietly than most expect. Because real wealth is usually invisible, it looks like savings, investments, low stress, freedom, time, not non-stop spending, but many people never learn this. They spend years financing an image, instead of building a future. And the emotional pressure behind this is powerful. Nobody wants to feel behind in life. Nobody wants to feel embarrassed around friends or online. So people buy things hoping those purchases will make them feel respected, admired, or important. But expensive things rarely fix insecurity for long. The feeling fades quickly. Then the need to impress returns again. That is why this habit can quietly destroy finances for years. The spending never truly ends because the goal is emotional, not practical. And sadly, the people trying hardest to look wealthy are often under the most financial pressure. They are carrying the biggest stress, the biggest payments, the biggest fear of falling behind. Because when your lifestyle is built around impressing others, you can never fully relax. There will always be another trend, another upgrade, another person making you feel like what you have is not enough. Section 5, one of the easiest ways people lose money today is through small recurring expenses they barely notice anymore. A streaming service here, a music app there, an unused gym membership, cloud storage, premium upgrades, auto renewals quietly charging every month in the background. None of these payments feel serious on their own. Most are small enough to ignore. $5, $10, $20. So people stop paying attention. That is exactly how the trap works. Modern companies understand something very important about human behavior. People notice large payments, but they often ignore small recurring ones. That's why so many services are built around monthly subscriptions now. The charges feel tiny, painless, and easy to forget. But over time, these small leaks quietly become massive. A person may be losing hundreds or even thousands of dollars every year on things they barely use anymore. And the scary part is that many people do not even know where their money is going. They just feel stuck. Every month feels tighter than expected. Savings grow slowly. Stress stays high. But when they finally check their bank statements carefully, they realize their money has been leaking in dozens of small places for years. That's why this habit is so dangerous. We ignore small expenses because they don't hurt immediately. That's exactly why they become dangerous. A giant expense forces attention. Small recurring expenses hide quietly in the background while slowly draining your future. And over time, these little charges also create a deeper problem. They train people to become careless with money. When spending becomes automatic, thinking disappears. People stop asking important questions. Do I still use this? Do I still need this? Is this actually improving my life? Or did I simply forget to cancel it? Financially strong people usually stay aware of where every dollar goes. Not because they are obsessed with money, but because they understand that small habits create big results over time. Meanwhile, many struggling people focus only on big purchases while ignoring the hundreds of tiny decisions quietly happening every month. And those tiny decisions often matter more than they realize, because money is rarely destroyed all at once. It usually disappears slowly, one unnoticed payment at a time. Section 6. Another spending habit quietly hurting millions of people is shopping out of boredom. Not because they truly need something, not because they plan to buy anything, but because they feel unstimulated, restless, or emotionally empty for a moment. So they open shopping apps, they scroll through online stores, they add random items to their carts. And before they fully realize it, they spend money just to feel something. This has become very common in modern life. Years ago, shopping usually required effort. People had to leave the house, travel to stores, and spend time making decisions. Now spending is available 24 hours a day, sitting inside everyone's pocket. One moment of boredom can turn into an impulse purchase within seconds. And modern apps are designed exactly for this. Bright colors, flash sales, limited time offers, endless scrolling, personalized recommendations. Everything is carefully built to trigger spending impulses before logic has time to catch up. That's why so many people buy things they never planned to purchase. The decision often happens emotionally, not rationally. The scary part is that boredom spending usually feels harmless. A cheap gadget, random clothes, a product seen on social media. Something interesting that might be useful someday, but over time these small impulse purchases quietly pile up into huge amounts of wasted money. And many people never stop to ask the deeper question, why am I shopping so often in the first place? Because sometimes the real problem is not money. It is boredom, loneliness, lack of purpose, lack of excitement. Many people don't have a spending problem. They have an unstimulated life problem. Shopping becomes entertainment, a quick escape from routine, a temporary feeling of excitement in a life that feels repetitive. But just like emotional spending, the feeling fades quickly. The package arrives. The excitement disappears. Then the boredom returns again, so the cycle repeats. This is why financially strong people often become very careful about impulse shopping. They understand that every unnecessary purchase steals money from future goals, future freedom, and future peace. Instead of constantly chasing stimulation through buying things, they build fuller lives outside of consumption. Hobbies, skills, relationships, fitness, learning, real experiences. Because when your life feels meaningful, you stop needing shopping to fill emotional gaps. And that changes everything. Section 7, one of the biggest habits keeping people financially stuck today is the refusal to wait. Modern life trains people to expect everything immediately. Fast delivery, instant entertainment. One-click purchases, buy now, pay later. And little by little, patience starts disappearing from the way people handle money. If someone wants a new phone, they finance it immediately. If a new gadget comes out, they upgrade right away. If they see something exciting online, they feel pressure to own it now instead of later. Waiting feels uncomfortable, but this habit quietly destroys financial progress. Because every time people borrow money, finance purchases, or make impulse upgrades just to satisfy a short-term feeling, they trade future freedom for temporary excitement. And companies understand this perfectly. That's why modern payment systems are designed to make spending feel painless. Small monthly payments, split payments, easy financing, tiny numbers that hide the real cost. Instead of asking, can I afford this? People start asking, can I afford the monthly payment? That shift changes everything. Because once people normalize borrowing for non-essential things, they slowly trap themselves in endless payments. A phone payment, a laptop payment, a furniture payment, a car payment. Money that could have built savings instead becomes locked into debt and upgrades that lose value over time. And the dangerous part is that many of these purchases are not even true needs. They are emotional ones disguised as urgency. A perfectly good phone suddenly feels old. A working car suddenly feels embarrassing. A device bought last year suddenly feels outdated because something newer appeared online. This is why patience has become such a powerful financial advantage. Most people today struggle to delay gratification for even a short time. They want the reward immediately, even if it creates stress later. But financially strong people often think differently. They pause, they wait, they plan purchases carefully. They understand that wanting something today does not mean they need to own it today. And that simple ability saves them enormous amounts of money over time. The ability to wait has become one of the rarest wealth-building skills. Because every time you delay an unnecessary purchase, you give yourself something more valuable than a temporary dopamine hit. You give yourself control. And people with financial control eventually gain something most impulsive spenders never reach: freedom. Section 8, one of the most damaging financial habits, is simply not knowing where your money is going. A lot of people work hard every month, earn decent income, and still feel confused about why they never seem to get ahead. The reason is often very simple. They are financially blind. They check social media every day. They know what celebrities are doing. They know what influencers are buying. They know what strangers online ate for dinner. But they rarely check their own bank statements carefully. So money slowly disappears without attention. Small purchases pile up. Subscriptions continue charging. Impulse spending grows. And because nobody is tracking it clearly, the problem becomes invisible. That is why so many people say things like, I don't know where all my money went. The truth is that money rarely disappears randomly. It usually leaks slowly through habits people stopped paying attention to. And once awareness disappears, control disappears too. Because what gets ignored gets expensive. This is true in almost every area of life. Ignored health problems grow worse. Ignored relationship problems grow worse, and ignored financial problems grow worse too. But many people avoid looking closely at their money because it feels uncomfortable. Seeing the real numbers creates stress. It forces honesty. How much are you actually spending? How much are you saving? How much is going toward things that do not truly matter? Those questions can feel painful, so people avoid them. But avoidance never fixes financial problems. It usually makes them bigger. Financially strong people understand something important. Awareness creates control. The moment you clearly see where your money is going, your behavior starts changing automatically. Waste becomes easier to notice. Bad habits become harder to justify. That is why tracking spending is so powerful. Not because it makes someone perfect, but because it removes financial blindness. You can't fix financial problems you refuse to measure. And this is where many people stay trapped for years, not because they are lazy, not because they are stupid, but because they never slow down long enough to fully face the truth about their own spending habits. Meanwhile, the people who build wealth usually become very aware of their money early. They pay attention. They review their numbers. They stay conscious of small leaks before those leaks become major damage. Because once you become aware of where your money is truly going, you finally give yourself the chance to change direction. Most people think financial freedom only comes from earning a huge amount of money. They believe the answer is a better job, a bigger paycheck, or some lucky break that changes everything overnight. But most of the time, the real problem is much smaller than that. It's the habits. The daily food orders that feel harmless, the constant upgrades, the stress spending. The subscriptions nobody checks. The need to buy things just to feel better for a few minutes. Small leaks do not look dangerous at first. That is why they are so easy to ignore. But over time they grow. One bad habit becomes 10. One small expense becomes thousands of dollars lost every year. And time makes everything bigger. Good habits slowly build freedom. Bad habits slowly build pressure. The scary part is that most of these habits feel completely normal. Everyone around us does them. Social media makes them look harmless. Companies encourage them every single day. That is why millions of people stay stuck in the same financial cycle for years without realizing what is really happening. But the good news is that small changes work too. You do not need to become rich overnight. You just need to become more aware of where your money is going and why you are spending it. Because the earlier you notice these habits, the easier your future becomes. Ignore them long enough and they can quietly steal years of your life. And if even one of these habits sounded familiar, this is your sign to change it now. Before